I did my capstone project on our CSUMB's online MBA orientation. A little background about our MBA program. We've been doing the MBA program since 2008. We currently have 200 students in the program with about 250 alumni. We start quarterly, so we do have 4 starts each year. Currently, this is an online program, so currently when students start the program, they're enrolled, matriculated, they have a welcome call with their student success advisor. During that welcome call, it's about a half an hour, the student success advisor goes over some basic requirements and attendance and about tech support. I have found, up until about 3 months ago, I was the coordinator for the MBA program. So I found some problems with this system. Several of those problems is that 60 hours every year was dedicated to these telephone calls. It's difficult to schedule. I don't know how difficult it is for all of you to schedule appointments, but it's pretty tough. The majority of our MBA students are working adults. They have families, they have other obligations. So there's always a scheduling issue. Listening to somebody talk to you on the telephone can be a very passive experience. You're not doing anything, you're just sitting there, maybe taking notes. I don't know, I don't take notes over the phone, but that might be wishful thinking. And also there were restrictions with the content that we had the time to provide. The solution that I came up with was an e-learning solution. This solution would include a website, and on that website would be interactive learning modules on CSUMB policies and the College of Business policies, registration instructions, demos and simulations, as well as LMS navigation. Now LMS is a learning management system. That's like your online classroom. Some of the challenges that I faced in transferring this welcome call into an e-learning module was to keep it personal. I think there's a tendency to, with a lot of e-learning products, it's very impersonal and it's very generic, and I didn't want it to feel that way. I also wanted to motivate the students. I know all of the new Miss students, when you first started, you were really motivated to get in there and start doing stuff, and you know, as that time goes on, you lose that motivation. So I kind of wanted to harness that inertia that they had from the beginning and get in there and give them. Nobody really wants to learn about policies, let's be honest. So I wanted to take that momentum and go with it. Another thing was that I wanted to connect students with the campus. You know, we have over 250 MBA alumni, and people on this campus don't even realize that we have an MBA program. So I wanted them to feel that, you know, this is their alma mater too. So to design this, I used the ADDIE process. ADDIE is a inclusive format for instructional design, starting with analysis, going through design, development, implementation, and final evaluation. Some of the learning theories that I use, I focus a lot on cognitive learning. This is using experience to modify existing or new knowledge. A lot of people, everybody coming into the MBA program has done their undergraduate work. So there's a fair amount of, you know, they've registered for classes before, they've done a lot of this stuff before. But some of it can be new, so I wanted to take what they already knew and grow on that. And also the personalization principle. Again, kind of going back, I wanted it to be a personal experience where it didn't seem so generic. So there's a lot of informal communication, recorded human voice instead of like a robotic voice, as well as characters used throughout the e-learning modules. So the final deliverable is a website that contains modules on policies, registration, and navigation for the learning management system. So I'm going to do a quick demo. So this is actually the website that I created using Dreamweaver. So within this website, there's a welcome video and kind of some basic instructions. There's the learn navigation, the registration, and then the policies modules. And as much as I like to hear myself talk, I'm gonna mute this. So as we enter this, I don't know if you guys have taken any e-learning classes, but sometimes you get stuck in e-learning. I call it e-learning hell because you can't escape from it. So I wanted to leave outs for everyone. So I have a home icon as well as the navigation on the left-hand side. So as a part of designing these modules, I wanted the students to be able to interact with the actual e-learning module. You know, just clicking next, next, next is not a real interaction. So I've added website. I did have some problems with Dreamweaver, so I had to find creative solutions. So I have my little person say scroll up if you don't see the website. So this links students directly to the policies website on, this is dropping a class and the tuition and all of that. So at the bottom I have my character here asking, you know, did you find this information? Come to find out on the next slide, they're going to be asked about that information. One of the things that I did with my questions, this isn't, they could repeat them as many times as they needed to. So if students did something incorrectly, you know, I'd have, sorry Callie, incorrect. You need to go back to such and such page and review this information and come back and try again. So another thing, like I said, every few slides I have some kind of different interaction that the students could use, whether it's a rollover or a question or different kinds of menu boxes. So the real question is, does it work? Because if you go to all of this trouble and create all of this stuff and it doesn't work, there's no point in having people go through and do it. But the good news was that it did work. There was a statistically significant increase in learning. I did pre and post tests using Google Docs. I started out with 14, but only 10 subjects did both the pre and the post tests. I analyzed that data using a paired sample for means t-test, and it was statistically significant. Questions?
Yeah, but I'm not sure I can formulate it yet. What you did was, the old system was phone call.
Yes.
Did you ever evaluate the effectiveness of that?
No.
Okay, so now that you have this one.
Well, actually, let me go back on that. Anecdotally, in my 3 years of experience, I continually got the same kinds of questions like, I didn't know that, you know, there was a refund policy, or I didn't know this, or I didn't, you know, nobody ever told me that. So kind of anecdotally, you know, these problems kept cropping up. So in some regards, in what the welcome call did go over, it was very effective. But in things that it didn't have time to go over, it was just, you know, here's your handbook. Like I said, nobody reads policies.
So I don't understand how you did your pre-test then. What kinds of questions were what were you testing on?
So my testing was about knowledge that I was gonna be teaching people. So, you know, how do you register? How do you get help? How do you do this, that, or the other? So I tested a group of people, gave them the learning materials, and then tested them again to see how much they had learned after the e-learning solution. Yes?
So those were people that hadn't had a welcome call or